Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast with Character. I am your host, Alexis Boyette, and joining me today, I have my very good friend, Sasha. Thank you so much for joining me today, Sasha.
Thank you so much for having me back again.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
been a while.
excited. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been a couple months, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about things that we did not talk about the last time we were together.
That should be very interesting. Yeah, I'm speechless right now. I'm filled with coffee right now. It's been like 4 hours of coffee, so I'm still trying to wake up. And it's
You're a champion.
10:45, and my body likes to naturally wake me up at like 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning. So yeah,
Well, you look fabulous. Your
thank
hair
you.
looks amazing, and I
Thank you.
am so excited that you're here. So let's just go ahead and dive right in because I know that you're in the mascot industry, but
Yes.
I want to talk about little Sasha. Before we get into big Sasha and all of his achievements, let's go into little Sasha. So, growing up, what were some of your favorite characters?
Actually, so Mickey Mouse was not my go-to. I know it was actually Pluto and Chippendale. Because Chippendale, they're a very underrated duo. You don't see them too much at like party entertainment stuff, and that's something I really want to bring in one day and incorporate because most manufacturers don't do that, but some can actually make that happen. I'm like, okay, I want to do that. And Pluto because he's just a cutie. He's just clubhouse pet. I'm a huge animal lover, so and I grew up with golden retrievers, so just kind of the epitome of that felt like that towards like Mickey Mouse. Um, so I would say Pluto and Chippendale for sure are my
I
favorite.
love that you chose animals. Like
Yeah.
you're the first person. I've had people choose SpongeBob. I've had people choose like classics, like Robin Hood but Chip and Dale,
Yeah.
by the way, also same, loved Chip and Dale growing up and Pluto. And that's such a really cool representation of who you are today. If you take the loving, gentle, playful spirit of Pluto, you combine it with the mischievous, troublemaking fun of Chip. Oh no, Dale, sorry, Dale. And then take the more serious, professional,
Yeah.
practical adventurer of Chip, and that is you. So growing up, when you really admired these characters, did you try to take on some of their attributes, and what was it that you loved the most about each of these characters?
Um, Probably Pluto because I used to annoy my childhood dog a lot, even drink out of his water bowl.
Yes, you did.
Didn't eat the food, luckily. My mom refrained me from that. I was a weird kid when I was younger. Chippendale, that's interesting because I was a mix of both. I was very quiet in school. I was really a quiet kid, but not afraid to be unfiltered and speak my mind at the same time. So teachers didn't know what to do with me because again, I was, a very, mixed ethnicity of like, born in, one country but lived another one most of your life. And um they didn't understand my personality, but my mom did. So she had to like reiterate certain things. And in secret, I was a troublemaker, but like reality, I was very quiet and very like to myself, but also like just thinking about like what I could do to cause trouble at the same time. So the
Pop
life
off
of an only
Dale.
child, so at the
Well,
time,
that is
yeah.
exactly Dale. Like that is who he is. He's a
Oh yeah.
troublemaker,
Oh yeah.
you know. And but everyone loves him. But everyone loves him.
Yes.
So tell me a little bit about, coming from you're from England, right?
Born in England, but yeah, I've been raised here like most of my life. So I was about 1.5 or so when I came here. So full on American citizen, passport,
Yeah.
everything. So
And you mentioned that you were a quiet kid, but you were a troublemaker, and that your mom had to translate for you. Tell me a little bit about that.
um I think a lot of that had to do with more just how do I explain this? Realizing that you're on the spectrum but didn't notice at the time, and my mom kind of had to reiterate because I think some teachers thought at the time, but it wasn't really noticeable until my mom's like, he's not autistic, he just doesn't like you. Which was true actually. Some of the teachers I did not like. But I don't know. It didn't really have to do much with anything foreign. It was just my personality in general.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I've found that every single creative entrepreneur that I've had on this podcast, it has some sort of neurodivergence
Yes.
or different way of learning or different way of showing up in the world, me included,
Yeah.
where I didn't learn the way that all the other kids learned. And I feel
No.
like there were other people in my class who were the same exact way, but you really find it in the creative industries the
Yes.
most, where people are playing, where people are using their creativity to make a difference in the world, because we know that that's who we are and this is how we choose to express ourselves. And so it's really cool that every single person, including you, that I've interviewed on here has been, on the spectrum
Yeah.
somewhat, or, like I said, someone who is different or someone who is unique. Now, growing up, I want to know the story. Okay. I
Okay.
want to know the lore, Sasha.
Okay.
Tell me the lore. How did your life progress into where you are today?
So I started off with music when I was 12 years old. Picked up my first guitar, loved it. Then a year later, did the drums, added bass, a little bit of piano. Not like as good with the piano, but I know the basics of it. And I was just love music, and I did like a band. My junior year of high school, when I transferred from a private to a public school, because I went to a private school most of my life, and that in general to me was just like I felt like I was forced into it. Kind of, it's like forcing religion on you that you're not like. I'm still close, like I'm still Catholic, but I'm very just not like I'm not like too biblical. I'm more spiritual. I had a talk with Alicia about that. It was really interesting because she's a very balanced person, so she was like a go-to person for that. But it started off with music, and then being in a band, and then learning how to produce music a little bit, and then I also did choir in high school. A little bit of theater. I did theater my last year. Um, but I loved like music performing more than like acting. And then when I had a roommate, she was going in for communications and uh theater while I did psychology and wanted to minor in languages, but I ended up not finishing both because last minute my roommate was like, "We need Mr. Boss Mouse Man for a party," and she was already in it. I would take her to the parties at the time because she didn't drive, and they asked if I would be interested in becoming that character for a party. And then I covered that shift, and then they just hired me on straight from there. And so I ended up pursuing that career and not, finishing up the majors that I wanted to because I was like, well, this is what I really want to do. And same with music, and I want to incorporate music and performing in one thing. So it just kind of rode along for that for about 7 years now. And so ever since I've been doing characters and being infatuated by it, and I think a year down the line or so, I started like investing in my own mascot costumes because that was like my niche. And I think for some people, it's like when you find your niche in a certain part of the company, that's when you can start investing in the costumes that you want and being hired for those characters. For some people, I think they try to jump ahead to conclusion and they sometimes buy certain characters that they want to be, but sometimes they're not going to get hired as much because companies aren't looking for that, or there's just always been a backup for them. And I'm like, you have to find the company you need first that has that niche, and then you got to figure out what you're being booked for first before build up the gigs and everything. And some people they put all their eggs in one basket, and that's not always you know a good thing, and then they get really upset. And I'm like, you have to really think about what you're doing. You can't really blame the company more than you can blame yourself for that stuff. And I just
Yeah.
got very lucky that I was able to like find that niche in the mascot department and how underrated it is, and I was like able to like book a lot more for that. And now I have like 25 or like 30 like costumes now. So in a storage unit.
That's
So
incredible. Thank you so much for sharing your story. And I'd like to talk on a couple of the different things that you mentioned. So the first one being forced into private school and having
yeah.
religion thrust upon you. Preach. Like,
That was my mom's side, not my dad. My
amen.
dad was not on the religious side, my mom was, so that was her decision.
Yeah,
So
same, same.
yeah.
I was thrust into a private middle school, and it was the bane of my teenage years.
Was this in California or was this
This was in Florida. Yeah.
oh
Yeah, and it was not it was awful. You know, when your class is like 25 kids, they've all known each other since they were
Yeah.
5, and you come in and nobody wants to be friends with you because you don't have any money. And yeah, it's actually not about religion at all. Religion is just there. You know, it's just
Yeah.
one added extra pressure of you need to conform and you need to um, basically abide by what we're telling you to abide by, or you're going to be rejected. And so I did not vibe with the structure of religion at all.
No.
And I am a very spiritual person, similar to you, but it's so crazy that you also had that experience. And then also you mentioned characters with mascots and also just purchasing characters in general. This is something I also preach as well. You should always make sure that you have demand before spending money. Just
Yeah.
because you like something
Yeah.
doesn't mean that there's a market for it
No.
or people are going to buy it, you know?
Exactly.
I think my first really big run when I purchased all the inventory for my first character entertainment company, I got all the basic characters, right? All the
Yeah.
characters that I thought I saw all the other companies getting, you know, I was like, okay, these are going to be the ones that are going to be popular, right?
Exactly.
And 60% of them were popular,
Yeah.
but 40% of them never booked.
Yeah.
And it depends on your service area
Yeah.
too. Like in Hawaii, Moana booked all the
Oh
time.
yeah.
In Portland, Moana never
Yeah.
booked, you know?
I
It
have
just
mascots that are like
depends.
that as well that just don't get booked. Like say they book for some companies because that's what it's
Mhm.
like, and then others they don't. The company that I'm with, or one of the primary companies I'm with, because I work for multiple, but I have one that's more consistent. They didn't have a mascot Olaf. They used a puppet Olaf. But then when I
Mhm.
brought in this one, it took about a year, and then now it's taking off
They had a
because
puppet?
yeah, they have a puppet one.
How did they do that?
Stick.
Stick.
They didn't put the hand inside of it. They just had a stick to control the inside of it. Same with
Okay.
like Elmo. We actually had a party where they wanted both a puppet and a mascot, Elmo. Uh,
Interesting.
I don't know why, but it worked out and the kid loved it. This was in Encino, so
Okay.
LA
About
is
to
an
say, like,
interesting area. Yeah.
I've had kids like I remember whenever I used to be Ariel and I used to carry around a stuffed flounder and the kids would just look at me like, we know that that's not real. Like we
Yeah.
know that's not flounder. And I'm like, well, obviously. And
Kids
I'm
are a
like,
lot more
well,
brutal nowadays. They are so honest and
yeah,
so like aware. Like for us, we were, but we didn't speak up. We just lived in the moment. We didn't care, and
yeah.
they were even worse quality back then. And I said like you would have a nightmare if you saw like what Chuck E. Cheese or some of these people looked like back then.
Chuck E.
Like
Cheese was traumatizing.
Mickey looked like he was on methamphetamine back in the day. Honey, he looked emo as heck. He was bad. He
Yeah,
was
he
melting.
looked like one of those
Yeah.
Mickeys that you see, you know, on Hollywood Boulevard or in Germany, like randomly in Munich or Frankfurt. It's not, it's, you're like, why are you doing this? Why are you traumatizing me and
You might
ruining
want to
this
tell
for
that to
me?
Alina and Nicole, not me, man. I'm not I
Hey,
am German, but I'm not from. Yeah.
yeah, it
Yeah.
was. I remember I think I was in Frankfurt and I saw Mickey Mouse and it was okay. It was raining. It was raining, and I popped into this little bakery, and all of a sudden and this is when I have my nationwide company, right?
Yeah.
And I was running it remotely, and I look over, and there's under the church awning, there is this like really terrible Mickey Mouse mascot, and he's just standing under the awning, and he's just like waving at people very creepily, and I'm like, oh no. And I have a video of this. Okay. I took a video. I was like, why is this happening? And the kids were just like, ah.
I love horror stuff. So like that and like in a horror type thing would be so much fun, but in real life, no, no,
Yeah.
get it out.
Well, okay. Did you see the new It series?
I haven't, but I'm
I
definitely
got,
gonna get on it.
I got me and my sister. So me and my sister both love the It movies,
Yeah,
you know?
no, they're great.
And the series we were expecting the same. And we couldn't get past the second episode because it was so
Yeah.
like I feel like sometimes with horror stuff, they take it too far. It's almost like they try to shock you too much.
No, here's the thing that I will second on that. Like, yes, my mom and I we love horror stuff. I think that's more of an American thing, and it's a little bit more predictable. Where it's like with European type versions, it's a lot more brutal, but it's at the same time, it's you don't know what's going to happen. They don't give too much detail on it. Where America, like if they make a version of it, kind of like what they did with like the girl with the dragon tattoo, sometimes they give a little bit more detail than they
Mhm.
should, and it makes it more predictable, more obvious. And you're like, I kind of ruins the plot for me. But
Yeah,
European
this
version, it's very, or other foreign, it's just very like you kind of know, but you have to think about how it happened and everything, and
Yeah,
it's
this
a
one,
whole
it
different
just
thing.
felt like they were trying too hard to make it extra traumatizing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like I felt
Yeah.
traumatized, whereas in the movies I didn't. I was like, oh, this has a good
No.
storyline. I'm
Yeah.
into it, whereas in the series I was like, they're just trying to give me
Well,
nightmares. Like
TV
they're just
shows don't have like a structure. Sometimes they kind of go off of like what they think is going to happen next, where like a movie it's already structured out, so they kind of have
yeah.
to. They can't.
Well, and it's
They can't
supposed to
wing
be
it.
a prequel.
Yeah.
And so I was so excited about the prequel because I was like, but then he's way like it's way more intense. The prequel's way more intense than the movie. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah.
and like you don't really get attached to the
Yeah.
characters before they start murdering them. And you're just like,
Exactly.
well, okay. Like, thank you for
That's
that.
why I
Now
don't get
I'm not
into
gonna
that kind of
sleep.
stuff too much anymore. I'm like, it's too predictable for me.
Yeah.
And when they make
Yeah.
an American version of something, I'm like, I'll watch it, but I feel like they're just gonna like add more detail to what like a European flick was, and I'm like, no, no, just
Yeah. We've
no.
gotten way off track.
Yeah. Anyways, yeah.
Anyways,
So
let's talk back to you. Back to you.
again, ADHD. This is again like a lot of people know in the industry. A lot of people either on the spectrum or have ADHD, and that's a very common. And that's great because we get to be ourselves and we get to be who we want to be. We still know how
Yeah.
to find reality, but we're also very like we're in our happy place, and that's what I like about it. And that's
Yeah.
how it should be. We should never be ashamed to dress up into our favorite characters, despite the fact that some people call Disney, a child's play type, park. And I'm like, no, it's open to everyone. But some of those people are just, I
It's
feel like they didn't get the proper childhood they wanted. And they kind of envy.
Well, I feel like the way that people interact with childlike things as an adult says a lot about where they are currently at with
Yeah,
their relationship with their own inner child.
exactly.
And people reject what they don't understand. And if they don't understand how an adult could be playing or, pretending or like being like a child, being childlike,
Yeah,
if they don't, if then they just immediately go to judging that, that means that's a really good reflection of where they're at with themselves in regards to how they treat their own inner child, how they treat
exactly.
their own creative and playful spirit. And I've learned to not take it personally
Yeah,
because it's more of just an awareness and an observation, but it makes me very passionate about wanting to communicate to people actually playing and identifying as a character and admiring character archetypes is actually a very powerful method of rewiring your nervous system, achieving
exactly.
your dreams, and living a happier, more meaningful life.
Yeah,
It's psychology, it's neuroscience.
yeah.
So if we're going to judge it and we're going to say, oh, that's stupid, that's childlike, let's go ahead and talk about the science.
Well, and a lot of people like started like 16 at this job. I started like in my mid to late 20s. But I will say, like, what I tell people is like 20s are a very pivotal time of your life. And if it wasn't for this job, I don't know if I would have been here like twice or three times. I don't know how many times at this point. But when you're in your 30s, like it's just the happiest time of your life, especially when you can still do this job and realize you're never too young to do it. And because
Yeah.
the sky becomes so clear, you kind of figure out yourself and who your friends are, what your career path is like in this, and you start to just enjoy it and live in the moment a lot more and just relax because you
Yeah.
have your
Well,
career sorted out, you got your friends sorted out, you got your company whatever sorted out, and you're just in a very happy space after a while.
yeah. And in your 20s, you've spent so much time nurturing your inner child that by your
Yeah,
30s, you have such a good relationship with yourself
exactly.
that it makes day-to-day life so much easier and so much more enjoyable. Yeah, that there's still trials and tribulations and hard times and good times, but it makes getting through the hard times so much easier
Oh,
when you
so
have a
much
good
easier now.
relationship with
So much
yourself.
easier now. Yeah, I'll be
Yeah.
like sad for like a day, then the next day I'm like back to normal again.
Yeah, because you're living your
Insane.
truth
Yeah.
and you are your own best friend. And it's like, yeah, you're going to help yourself get through no matter what it is you're going through. You're not going to just, power through and be brave and be an
No.
adult because you have to. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
you're like, okay, what do we need today? Do we need some hot cocoa? Do we need to watch a Disney movie? Like what do you need today, babe?
So I remember I talked about this with Ellie, and Ellie loves this. She's so funny. We're always glazing each other somehow. One thing I like to do, especially before, like when I'm prepping for a character, like before, is I always have my guitar with me. So I'm always playing my acoustic guitar just to kind of be in the moment. Even though I'm like in a costume and I don't have to talk or say anything, it's like my happy place of feeling calm and zen. So I'm always playing something, emo or country or whatever is in the mood, and just jamming for that for like a good 20-30 minutes, because I like to show up as early as possible to like relax and find parking and be like, okay, like let me get in the zone and then put on the costume, go out and have a good time,
Yeah,
cold, hot, whatever weather, just have fun.
that's amazing. That's your ritual.
Oh yeah, that's my
So
ritual.
tell me a little bit about the first time you performed, and we can go ahead and say it as Mickey.
Oh
Tell
boy.
me, yeah, tell me a little bit about that, and also how you fell in love with it.
So funny thing, our first gig was in Santa Ana, which for people that don't know, Santa Ana and Anaheim. Anaheim is where Disney's at, but Anaheim and Santa Ana are kind of like our ghetto of Orange County, California. They really are. And the funny thing is, I went to a private school in Santa Ana, which is like the memories of like bringing that up. I'm like, boy, I'm back in the same area that I went to high school that I could not wait to transfer out of. That was one thing. But I always tell people the more ghetto the parties are at, the better the kids are. The better. I'm not afraid to say it, the more ghetto the areas are, the better the kids and the crowd are at. The better the food is and everything. They're just so the camaraderie is just amazing. And so I try not to think about where I'm at either in Santa Ana or like in Compton or so. Just the uplifting the parties are always going to be like the best out there because they give the world even if they have nothing, and I love that so much. And so when I was Mickey Mouse, I was a little bit like nervous, but also I'm a ball of energy. So once I put on the costume, I just don't think. I'm never really been an overthinker. I just kind of live in the moment, just kind of mock the people jumping up and down in the bouncer and everything and having fun. And told my roommate like this was a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun doing it. That hour became a very successful because this was for a girl, I think stage 3 cancer, I think.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I forgot because my mom had a brain tumor, so it was really close to me as well. Um, so it's just interesting, like all that in one for a start of like kind of reliving your childhood of like I'm back in the same city that I went to high school that I regretted going to, but still had a fun time nonetheless because you got to put your past behind you. And I remember like the day after that, um, the boss sent me an email asking if I could do like these other parties like on a Sunday. It was on for like Halloween. Um, and I'm like, sure, like why not? Like, cool. And I didn't have to go through any training or any contract or anything. You just went right back into it because they needed more guys in the company as well. So I got very lucky just to not have to go through the training or go through the interview process from there. But my all-time favorite mascot or character is Olaf. Um, yeah, he's
You like warm hugs.
warm hugs, and we're very much people that go out of our way for people, because we're very like people pleasers in a way too. I'm an Aquarius, so we go out of
Nice.
our way for people, and we love it. And Olaf is like that person where it's like I'll melt for you, and I'm like that person. It's like I'm very protective of people too, and I'm very like we'll go out of their way for them, especially when you're working in a princess predominant world, and you want to make sure they're being handled with care as well, and they're not being handled inappropriately or anything. And I'm like this big mascot, like just trying to like guard them in a way too, and I'm like, don't, please don't, like, because you're
Olaf the
right.
Protector.
Because on average they're like 25 years old, but you still have like 16-year-olds as well and younger people. And the funny thing is our youngest was 16 and she was the reason why my career actually expanded, which was kind of cool. She actually helped me because we were like, me and my roommate at the time were like the older brother and sister to her. And she got me introduced to Ellie, who actually expanded my career as well. So it's a weird train how this all worked out. And that first party that I had with that 16-year-old was a frozen party as well. So the power
Aw,
of Olaf expanded my career.
that's
It's his
amazing. So
industry.
is that why he's your favorite? Tell me your favorite experience as Olaf.
Well, it's definitely not the modern times when they make you do 6-7 now. Um, just
What
had to put.
even is
I had to.
what even is it?
It's just like it's like saying so. It's so
Oh,
stupid. Yeah, yeah.
6-7.
Brain rot, but
I'm
it's like it brings like even this past like party I did for like a winter Mickey and Minnie on Mickey and Minnie's birthday. It was like I knew the kids were gonna do it, and then I did it for them, and they're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Oh boy," but it brings so much joy. I'm like the brain rot. It's like it's funny. It just um But anyways,
Do you remember when kids used to ask us all to
a lot.
dab?
Yeah,
I had so many kids be
yeah.
like, "Elsa, dab, Elsa, dab," and I'm like, "I don't understand."
Thank
And
God
they're like,
that
"Let
died
me show
out.
you."
I'm glad that
Yeah,
died
but
out.
now the 6, 7.
Well,
Mhm.
and now they're thinking about reversing middle school from 7th grade to 6th grade instead of 6 to 7, so that way they can't like just keep on repeating the word 6, 7. It's I don't
Oh
know if
my
that's gonna
god.
actually happen, but I don't think that's actually gonna happen. But
The
yeah.
schools are like, "We've had enough. We've
Yeah.
had." Oh, man.
But memorable party for Olaf, that's tough because first one I did was at a play place, but the second one was in Palos Verdes, I believe. It was like alongside a PCH, so you got that beautiful, Pacific Ocean vibe, looking out at Catalina, and I get that vibe anytime when I drive out to help out Alicia with the party because she's in Santa Maria, and you get to drive through Santa Barbara, which is great. Um, but
Fucking Catalina wine mixer.
yes, yes, separate the Catalina wine mixer, but Billy Joel is not involved in this one.
I love that you also mentioned how the best parties are in the ghetto or in like
They are,
underprivileged areas,
they are,
because that's how I fell in love with princessing actually as well, was because you're working with foster care systems, and you're working with kids who don't have very much, and you are their everything. But I will say that there's actually a psychology to that. So they found that people who come from underprivileged families, or like not a lot of money, lower to middle class, they are like mentally or psychologically, when they are raised to depend on community,
yeah,
because you might not always have money. You might not always have what you need, and so you have to learn how to be a part of a community just in case you need something, because
exactly,
chances are in your lifetime, you're going to have to rely on the community for something, your neighbor, whatever it might be. Whereas in really wealthy communities, they don't need to rely on each other for
no,
anything. And so
yeah,
they're not taught that as a young child, that you need to learn how to be a part of this
yeah,
community. You need to learn how to make friends with the store clerk, because you
yeah,
might need, they might need to give you like 20 cents that you don't have in order for you to be able to buy
yeah,
milk. So actually the psychological phenomena is people from lower to middle class are taught to be more embracing to people in
exactly,
general, whereas people from upper class are taught to actually be more, I would say, more closed off, because if anything, they're taught to fear that maybe other people might take something
yeah,
from them
yeah.
because they have something. And so it's very,
There are
very
there are
fascinating.
companies like that as well. Again, because they don't treat their coworkers or employees as independent contractors, and we've all been through that, and we
Underperformers.
we know how broad it is in LA and Orange County, and we know a lot of the companies out there, and there's quite a few out there, but it's like that's neither here or there anymore at this point. They're kind of has-beens. Um, it's unfortunate they're still there, but that's beside the point. But getting back to what you're saying, like yeah, like I said, it's even funny how even some like the more like richer areas of the customers, they don't even tip you sometimes. No
Yeah.
offer, no nothing. You're like all that get mistreated, by your kids, and then we don't get anything much in return. And it's like we are getting paid decently, but those tips really do help us a little extra, especially either like with gas or with extra things that we want to put into our costumes and such. Where like my dad, he worked for a lumberyard company before he started his own. He had to ask his dad to borrow money for that. Um, and take it like even my mom, like she was a very successful secretary, but they didn't finish college or school for that. They were just working class people, and that's like the same with me, where it's like I realized education was one thing, but I didn't finish it as much because I was just more of a working class person. Now I'm like following in their footsteps of like working every day, still working for my dad and still doing this stuff and trying to work hard to expand a career in this industry so I don't have to work for my dad that I have for like 13 or so years. And it's a really
Yeah.
fun thing just to kind of come from, working class person like my dad. And even that, like we still give the world to everyone back because we're very just giving people. We work hard. And then when we see people and the potential they have, we want to help them as well. And I'm glad that I was able to like do that for Alicia or a few other people, or the fact that I got the opportunity to work under Ellie and other people, and they've given me the world, and I want to give them the world back and try to help them expand as much as I can in this industry, because it's one thing we have in common is we love this so much, and we want to keep building and building, until we could finally just kind of sit back, relax, and be like, we made it, we did this,
Yeah.
hard work. And there are even people who still run a successful business that still work in the field, which is mad respect to them, because it's you're never too old to keep working, living your dreams, no matter the amount of money that's coming into you. It's mind-boggling, and I love it so much.
Yeah. And the world needs more people who come from lack, because we have such a strong desire to give. And it's really just our lifelong journey of overcoming our own limiting beliefs
Yes.
about what we think that we're worthy of,
Yeah.
and then being able to teach others to do the same. If more people who didn't come from money had money, the world would be a better place,
Yeah.
because we would all be trying to share it with each other. We're like, we understand what it's like to not be able to afford
I know.
groceries. Here you go.
Well, and even like in this industry, I love doing the Make-A-Wish stuff because that costs nothing. That is, you don't get paid for anything other than your time and your service for bringing the magic to kids who, can't potentially get out of the house. You let the magic come to them, and it's amazing. And we finally had like a Make-A-Wish foundation happening at one of the hospitals in Long Beach, which is cool because one of the nurses used to work for our company, which was kind of cool. He reached out to the company to for us to come. So it was Mickey Mouse and oh god, Rapunzel.
Oh,
Yeah, and it was so much fun. I'm like, I'm glad we got to do this, and I knew we weren't going to get paid for it, but I'm like, that's that's the whole point. You're supposed to do this for for the love of the kids, not just for the money.
yeah.
So like I remember, I think we got paid once or tipped once for it. I'm like, I didn't want the money because we're just doing our job. We're just trying to be there to bring the magic to the sick kids and have fun and put a smile on their face, not knowing
Hey,
if
but
they're going to make it out or not. And
if someone wants to give you money for it, though, I
yeah,
mean, that's okay. It's not bad. It's
yeah,
not bad.
I
They're
know.
like, hey, I appreciate you. This is my energetic exchange for your time, and that's fine,
Yeah,
because
I know.
sometimes we do it for free, but it is always nice to have people appreciate it and energetically give back to us, whether that's a thank you or whether
Yes,
that's financial
exactly.
compensation. So, do you have your memory of Olaf yet? Your favorite memory? Or your most iconic memory? Or just like if I say, what is your most iconic memory from being Olaf? Is there any time like a kid said something weird to you, or like,
Um, no, that's tough because I have to recollect like everything. Like it's like every Olaf party that I've had and everything, and sometimes my memory can be shot with that. Um,
feel
um,
like it's all a frozen blur?
yeah, we did like a private party for like one girl in Encino, which was really sweet, and the big stairwell up to that house in Encino.
Oh my
So
gosh.
trying to get up there, I was like trying to hold on to like one of the princesses, like, but it was really cute. That's hard because I don't have like a really an iconic. It just
They're all iconic.
I, honestly, I think the most iconic was being able to bring Olaf into the company that I love and I feel more at home with, and realizing what it was like to feel like an independent performer thanks to them, knowing that I can still help out my friends and not feel guilty if I say no. And
Yes.
when I was able to finally bring Olaf into that company, my boss, Alicia, was able to I was like, thank you so much for listening and being able to let me bring in Olaf. She's like, tis the season for Olaf, so anytime. And I'm like, thank you. And that's why like I said, they were ranked number 2 in top small businesses in America in 2023, and out of 150. And
Wow.
even 150, like that's very small. You have to minuscule everything, in 50 states and how many small businesses there are. And I'm like the fact that just being open minded just really helps a lot. And she was very open minded to bringing Mascot Olaf, because I told him like a lot of other companies have a Mascot Olaf and it will sell and it will bring a lot of customers and happiness to a lot of these kids. And just to be able to bring him in was amazing. And one of the last ones that I did for Olaf was really fun because Um, again, we don't do a lot of singing in some of the parties nowadays. With some like singing's like an option compared to some companies. And one of the girls we had was like very kind of shy, but her singing was incredible as Elsa. I'm like, you got a really good voice, dude. And so thanks to that, we're actually going to be jamming this weekend because of that.
Oh,
So yeah,
fun.
so yeah, and like I said, it just all brings a lot of friendships together and a lot of joy, and the kids just love hugging him up. Yeah,
Oh.
and they did that. They were less paying attention to her singing and more to this big snowman going to like, hug and tackle me. um,
Oh. Have
yeah,
you
which I feel
ever
bad.
been like concerned that you were going to be tackled and your head was going to fly off?
So there was a party in
I knew it. I knew it.
this was three. So this was a 3.5 party. And Olaf at the time came with like Velcro. Velcro does not stay on those mascots as much as you think they do. And I I didn't install buckles at the time. I did something, I think, for the back of the head. And when I went to go handle a kid, the head went to go like fly backwards. And luckily I grabbed it really quick and put it back on before they can. It was like already like coming off, but luckily somehow they didn't see it.
Amazing. Good
Because I was
good
jumping up and
catch.
down trying to hug a kid, and all of a sudden it just went. I'm like, oh shoot. So we
Oh,
installed buckles in the front and the back for it, to secure it because Olaf also at the time was I think the costume that caused me the most neck problems. So I had
oh,
to find a way to put buckles so it can just center and not like wiggle too much so I can like control it better. Because
yeah.
mascots can be like that, even just foam, because a lot of like mascots in the like party industry are foam based costumes. And even then they can still push your neck down, cause some lower back issues if you're not careful. So
Wow. It's a dangerous job,
yeah.
Sasha.
Acupuncture and chiropractor,
Yeah.
yeah,
All business expenses.
yes.
Sasha, tell me a little bit. Can you give me a couple tips on for any character entertainment company owners who might be listening and maybe they have mascots or maybe they're considering getting mascots? What would be a couple of your biggest tips for anybody trying to incorporate mascots into their company?
Um, honestly, it's just a matter of, knowing what's high demanding and what clients want, and then make sure like even though you have to say no so many times, make sure it's like you gather up all those no's, kind of like a survey says kind of a thing, and know exactly who's been high demanding, who is like, okay, cool, and then you can ask around for certain other characters, but you just have to know like what people demand the most, what they want the most, and then you can go from there, get those characters, and then eventually, if they keep asking about other characters, you can build off of that as well. But you got to find a source of like 2 or 3 characters that have been high demanding and what people want the most, and then go from there. So it could either be Mickey and Minnie, or it can just be Stitch, Olaf, or um even someone as random as like Paw Patrol or Coco Melon. So so it
Depends
doesn't have to
entirely
be
on your
Disney.
service area.
Yes, exactly. Depends on your
And
location, your environment, where you're at. Um, one of the girls I remember in our chat, I know she talks a lot in our chat, the Alabama girl. What's her name?
oh, Anna?
Anna. She loves space. And I told her if you ever want a mascot, incorporate like Buzz Lightyear or like an action Buzz Lightyear, and I think you would really like that. And it's kind of cool just to find common ground with people, like what they like and what can be incorporated into that.
Yeah.
Um, so I
So
try to
use
find that
your
common
own
ground for people.
interests.
Yes.
Yeah. And then how about the actual performing as a mascot? What would some of your biggest tips be there?
Um, definitely drink plenty of water beforehand. If you do sweat easily, wear a bandana. If not, try to wear a hip fan or a neck fan, depending on how sensitive your neck is. If not, like I said, for me, I um ride or die in those costumes, so I just wear a bandana.
Nice.
Yeah, so I don't use any air filters, air fans, anything. I just go in right along, go right into it. Um, and then depending on, your energy, sometimes even going to the gym beforehand helps build your stamina up for that. And I've been going back and doing like Stairmaster stuff a lot, and it really brings up my energy, because if you don't, sometimes your energy will slow down. If that's all you
Yeah.
do for a workout, it doesn't always necessarily help you. It does burn calories, but it doesn't help your overall energy, especially if you don't have a party until 1 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Um,
Yeah.
but again, it really depends on your momentum and how your energy is, your breathing and your airways. You want to make sure you find your breathing and you don't, hyperventilate too much in those costumes, because some of them, yeah, I've almost passed out or fainted at least in 2 of them.
Wow.
Yeah. So
You
you
ever
have
get
to,
claustrophobic?
again, only like in 2 of them, because I forgot how to breathe in a few of them, because I always tell people, like, as one common character, don't expect every character to bring up the energy like Mickey Mouse. Like, you can't always act like Mickey Mouse in some characters. Some of them you just have to really bring down the energy, or else you're gonna die. You're gonna not like that. So
Focus on
yeah,
your breathing, don't
focus on
die.
your breathing. Yes, yes.
And Sasha, what do you have planned for combining your music and your mascotting? Like what's one really big goal or something that you would like to achieve in 2026?
So one thing that I did, and it's still not done yet. It's been like 2 years. So I made a theme song that kind of incorporated the whole like party world in general, kind of like a rock theater ballad, but it's a slow build. So it kind of has a mixture of like Queen with My Chemical Romance and like kind of like a Billy Joel type piano in there as well a little bit. And I wanted to incorporate different girls singing a princess part with the lyrics and the flow with, again,
Wow.
like I said, so I wanted to build something kind of ultimate with that. And I do want to help other people out with like their own kind of theme song, their own personalized theme songs for like companies and what fits them. And I'm actually helping out one of my friends in the company that I'm involved to. It's so funny. She came in a lot later on into the family, but my family and her family have been friends even before she came into the family, which was kind of cool. And she has her own company as well that's been blowing up, which is amazing. And I helped her with like a Christmas Tinkerbell song right now, and it's so much
Oh,
fun.
so cool.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, well, for anybody who's listening and who's interested in hiring you to create a jingle for them, where can
Yeah.
they find you?
You could find me at The Greatest Snowman. It's like Showman, but Snowman. Yeah, yeah. On Instagram. That's where you could easily reach out to me. Facebook as well, but I would just prefer Instagram. Just
Yeah.
The Greatest Snowman on there.
The Greatest Snowman.
Yeah,
And I'll
The
make
Greatest
sure to
Snowman.
put the link in the
Yeah,
description below. And he's
yeah,
also in the Bippity Bestie group chat, you
yeah.
guys. So if you want to meet him and you want me to, he's always in there. He's active. He's amazing. So I'll pop you his information if you
If I'm not
DM me on
responding,
Bippity.
I'm watching. I'm
Yeah.
listening. So if you guys ever need any help on like mascot advice or in my department, I'm always there to help you guys out. I'm down to travel when I can and help expand.
I'm
So
yes. And I'm so excited to see you at next year's retreat.
yeah,
It's going to be so much fun.
well, hopefully
So
December.
much fun.
Yeah,
So much fun.
no much fun. Maybe in December before that. We'll see. We'll see. Depending on,
Yeah.
because you're going to be in LA and I'm normally in LA every Sunday or Saturday.
Oh,
So yeah,
perfect.
yeah. So
Well, yeah, I'd like to see you before then.
yeah,
So let's definitely try and get together in December. But either way, we're gonna have an amazing time in at the Florida retreat.
yeah, exactly. No, it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm so, again, like I said, I haven't been back since I was 10, so I know a lot has changed, and it's like the perfect time to go.
Yeah,
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be
I'm
killer.
so
So
excited.
yeah,
Oh, well, thank you so much for joining me today. I had a great time conversing with you about all things character entertainment,
yeah.
television show, horror movies.
We can get more in depth later. We can have like a what we're planning. We're gonna have another podcast soon. We're
Yeah,
not gonna
we'll make
say
a
when,
series. We'll
but
make
you'll know, and it'll be a fun time. So
Oh, thank you so much for joining me today. You're amazing,
yeah,
and I hope you have a great Thanksgiving.
you too, Alexis. You're just your sister, right? Just
Yeah, we're
yeah.
having a Stranger Things themed
It's yeah,
Thanksgiving
because the new
tomorrow.
episode just comes out tomorrow. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I'm
No, it
ready.
came out today.
Oh, it came out today.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
gotta
you're like
I gotta
watching it.
interrupt Harry Potter for that now. Okay, awesome. Yeah,
You're like, I'm
yeah.
watching. I'm going
I'm
now. I'm
watching.
going
No,
right
no,
now.
it's going down now. Yeah, it's all downhill from here now.
Fucking Godspeed.
Take it.